Welcome, travelers, to my realm of nightmares. Allow me to be your personal assistant. Come in, take a seat, get comfortable. For when you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.
Hello everybody, Rosco here, with another case of mine. This one happened about a couple weeks after the circus of the changelings went up in smoke. By the way, the townsfolk are fine. Most of the leftover changelings fled the town, and the agency has since caught them all. There's a couple reformed ones working in HR now. This case is somewhat special to me, because these creatures, or spirits, I should say, are pretty rare. The Pontianak is Indonesian and a Malay myth of a vengeful spirit of a woman who dies during pregnancy, who can transform into young, beautiful women and devour men. Well, it turns out this wasn't a myth at all. Now, before I get into the thick of it, I want to thank y'all for supporting my memoirs. Many of you seem to enjoy this, and others also send gifts. Particularly, the gift box I received earlier this week. It had nothing but lube and a cornucopia of large vegetables, with a living letter telling me to go fuck myself. Thank you, but I made a salad instead. Now, the Pontianak in itself is practically untraceable. With the ability to change into flesh, then vanish, is a bitch to work with. Needless to say, I had to follow the trail of bodies she left all over the place. Shit, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me rewind to where this all took place. Maybe some of you live there. If so, I recommend you getting the fuck out, ASAP. If you are of the male variety, that is. This job landed me into the cesspool that is Portland, Oregon. Now, if you're not familiar with their slogan, it's Keep Portland Weird. And let me tell you of the crazy amount of supernatch that happens in that city. It's pretty traumatizing. Some of you may also be familiar with Stark Street, in more ways than one. If you don't know, that is Portland's famous street of drag prostitution. At least on the surface. Dig in a little deeper, and it's a haven for supernatch. And that's exactly where I found myself. What's easier to hide in if you're a sexual monster than a supernatch prostitution ring? Now, if you're all thinking I went in disguised as the John, you're horribly misled. I did go about asking questions, however, about all the disappearing men. I managed to run into a few leprechauns that were down on their luck. That's a sight to see. Fae folk tend to not want to be seen. I'll let your imaginations cover down on that situation. I didn't get a single beat on this thing. No bodies or anything were found. Nobody was talking. Interrogation only works if you know the suspect has intel. So, I can't just take some random off the street, beat the shit out of them. I was left to stick into good old-fashioned stakeout and just post up. I did what I had to and got a shady hotel on a nasty street. And yes, I was approached by quite a few prostitutes of both variety, human and non. Normally, prostitution is illegal even for those supernatch to have integrated with society, but that's none of my business at the moment. I had a job to do. Now, not much is known about the Pontiac. They have long dark hair and red eyes and appear mostly when there is a full moon. From what HQ has gathered, she's been appearing more frequently than that. Other than that, I have dick. The only option I got is to wait for another sad sack of shit to either die or go and get caught myself. As we all should be aware, I am not keen on being caught. Now, surprisingly enough, what would normally work on ghosts also works on a Pontiac. Salt, iron, burning their remains. Problem is finding their remains. What the agency cooked up instead is some sort of prison system for ghosts. Kinda like Ghostbusters, without the dumb lasers. It's a trap, but instead of a box, it's a hex. Yes, witchcraft is used to detain ghosts. Well, it's more of a sigil that needs to be placed on a spirit that puts them in a dormant state so it can be transported to the holding facility. The sigil is made up of iron encrusted with salt from around the world. These are hexed by the agency's witchcraft and wizardry sector. For you Harry Potter fans out there, no, you don't have the chance to go to Hogfarts or whatever the fuck the school is called. Anyways, the trigger's going to be getting close enough to place the sigil on the Pontiac. Being it is ghost-like in nature, it'll be a bit of bitch to apprehend. That's why I came up with my own little toy. Well, it used to be anyways. For the smart some bitch that invented the hula hoop, I thank you. Adding salt and iron inside of it perfectly makes it a mobile detention center, and I get to play the most badass game of ring toss. Now, I've been told my methods are a bit unconventional, as I tend to have several casualties accompanying my solving the case. As for Deputy 6 Feet Under, he knew what he was getting into. This time, I'm going to have to use someone as bait, being that I'm staying in a shady hotel off the main drag, no pun intended. I'll be needing to keep a close eye on those who come and go. Catch an eye on those with frequent flyer miles, if you catch my drift. Nothing happens for the first few days. Yeah, I got stuck in that sleazy-ass hotel for days. I'm not too fond of that neither. The only thing I saw was the two leprechauns performing what I would assume is an act of depravity. To simplify it, one stood atop the other one's shoulders and had a trench coat on. It was the freakiest shit I've ever seen in my life. That even beats the one time I broke up a lichen orgy. I'm not disclosing details on that. Just know, it's by invite only. These gross-ass shenanigans go on for several days until I spot the same guy in a pullover hoodie and sunglasses. What kind of douchebag dresses like the Unabomber? Someone trying to get supernatched to hell. That's who. I spotted this guy showing up several times this week. We found our frequent flyer. Now, to go apprehend him, of course, I'm going to wear gloves. I've learned since my last sticky incident. Now, I sneak up on him real smooth. When he enters the alleyway behind this store called Spartacus, I think it's some sort of gladiator sportswear place. I don't know. I wrap my hands around his mouth to keep him quiet while holding a snub-nosed .38 caliber up to his head. I had to inform him that I was with the police and I was under suspicion that illegal prostitution of sorts was being conducted behind this here sporting goods store. He held still for a bit, not saying anything, when a gorgeous woman in a glistening red dress walks up to us from the shadows. She started enticing me to let him go. While that's going on, I could feel the Unabomber of a man I was holding on to squirm. This has got to be her. I mean, she doesn't fit the profile of the majority of the gross people around here. I let the man go while holding the gun on her. If this was the Pontiac, then I knew this gun wasn't going to do a damn thing. Well, it wouldn't if it wasn't filled with salt-filled hollow point bullets. It won't kill her, but it'll slow her down. I told the lady I needed to see some ID, to which she then turned into the demonic spawn monster that she was. The look of surprise on her face when I didn't flinch was actually funny. That's when all of a sudden the Unabomber looking ass fuck pulled a gun of his own on me. Apparently, that's her pimp. Who would have guessed it? I didn't have any of my special equipment with me at the moment, so the only thing I could do was give chase. I rushed the Unabomber pimp and smacked the gun out of his hand. I guess he was just an average guy. After I knocked the piss poor excuse of a pimp onto the ground. The Pontiac gave chase. Luckily, my hotel was right across the way. All I had to do was lead her there. Sounds easy enough. Nope. She rushed me so damn fast and threw me into the alleyway, causing my revolver to fly away down the alley. Well, now I ain't got shit, and she is now in spirit form, so fisticuff ain't gonna work. She's obviously faster than me, so running isn't gonna do it either. The only thing I can do is let her get close to me. She does the whole monologue thing, telling me why she's here and decided to become a prostitute for the free food and all that jazz. Honestly, it would have been a great plan if she wasn't so damn sloppy. She slowly approached me. I could see the hunger in her eyes. She does offer me a quickie though before devouring me. What a sweetheart. Now, this is going to sound stupid to all of you, but this is probably the only time that having vamp blood running through me was actually beneficial. I bit down on my tongue as hard as I could and filled my mouth with blood. As she came at me, I spit as much blood in her mouth as I could. Immediately, she pulled back in disgust and began to gag. Yeah, not being 100% human is kinda cool, but that hurt like a sumbitch. That bought me enough time to get back to the hotel room and grab my things. She gave chase and was pretty damn fast. She was on my ass like wet on rice. As I made it to the front door of my hotel room, she charged at me, knocking me on my ass like a linebacker. Her petite frame was bullshit lie, I tell ya. I did my best to brush myself off and getting back to my feet. She wasn't having any of that. She leapt on me like a raging animal and started tearing me apart. It was gruesome. She gouged my chest and tore me up. There was nothing I could do about it, honestly. I was gonna fucking die. Well, I thought so anyways. Luckily, there was enough oomph in the vamp blood I had in my veins to prevent that. She apparently didn't realize what I was, and that gave me an upper hand. I woke back up in my hotel room, blood all over the place, but other than that, I was fine. I got everything cleaned up. No doubt she was still working the alley with her pimp. I grabbed up all my gear and went for round 2. Now that I wasn't taking any chances with the vamp blood again, it worked once. Who knew if it could work again? Her pimp saw me first and tried to pull his gun. I shot him where he stood, right in his stupid fucking aviators. Immediately, I pulled out the hula hoop and ran down the alley. I found her working on a John in the alley, just going to town on him like she hasn't eaten in a month. I abruptly threw the ring around her throat and pulled her back, causing her to fall back and trapping herself in circle. She was pissed. Now, I gave her a speech about how I was supposed to bring her back into the agency so we could learn more about her kind and potentially offer her a chance at rehabilitation of her eating habits. I threw that option right out the fucking window. She's fucked. I didn't know how to kill her yet, but I have all the time in the world with her being trapped. This is where she started begging and pleading, saying that she just didn't have another option. Bleeding heart sob story bullshit, honestly. If I couldn't kill her, I could sure as shit make it hurt. I managed to shackle her with some supernatural shackles and dragged her to my car. Hell, I even let her ride shotgun. You know, it's been a while since I had a pretty lady riding shotgun. I drove myself to an undisclosed warehouse off of the riverside. That's one thing I like about Portland. Plenty of places to do nefarious shit. I dragged her into the warehouse and chained her up to an old piece of machinery. This place looked abandoned enough. I grabbed her pickaxe and started breaking into the floor. She let me know that she can't die, and I'm okay with that. What she wasn't aware of was that she was getting put in a personal prison. I dug a hole for 3 straight days. It was fucking deep. She looked like she had gotten weaker without feeding. Good. Killing random folk is kinda her thing, but killing me was a mistake. I filled the hole halfway with salt and iron. That cost me a small fortune. I gave her a chance for last words. As she started talking, I just tossed her in. I didn't need to hear any more of that shit. I rented a cement truck and started to fill the hole. And yes, I stayed until it dried. I wasn't letting this bitch have any time to escape. She's under at least 20 feet of concrete now. God only knows what she's got rattling in her head. Something along the lines of, I'm hungry and I have the worst concrete enema. Now, I caught a lot of heat from this case with the agency, but fuck them. I gave them my report of me getting killed. I did tell them that she escaped after that. I wasn't going to disclose that I buried her. These assholes would have dug her up. If anyone from the agency listens to this, do me a favor and keep your fucking mouth shut. This bitch can rot for all I care. Thank you for listening. I got another call coming in. Keep your head up and watch your six.
Tonight's story was part 4 of Rosco Higgins Paranormal Detective. This was case file number 4, Maneater, written by the talented and amazing ChronoPasta. If you've not checked him out, please do so. His links will be in the description below. Hey, did you know I have merch? Yeah, it's crazy, right? But I do. And if you'd like to walk around representing my realm and gaining new travelers, the links to my merch store as well as all my other social medias will be in the description below. And as always, I'd like to say a special thank you to all my lovely Patreons. 242 Reads, Rando Calrissian, Pam, Seraphine the Midnight Bard, Creepy Clown Girl, Mia Mina, Philia Noctis, Hair Raising Narratives, Spooky Boo Scary Story Time, Breaker 19, otherwise known as Lycan Trucker, and my newest Patreon, Nathaniel Nelson. Thanks, Nate. I really appreciate it, brother. If you'd like to join these lovely travelers by the light of my fire, you can do so by becoming a Patreon as well. The support is always appreciated but never expected. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ding that bell if you're new for all future content.
But as always, travelers, once you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.